Yes, Hajam, how are you?
Good, good. How are you? We
Yeah,
missed
I'm
you.
doing good. I miss you guys too.
Okay, come over.
One day, one day, inshallah.
Professor, I think that we can start.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Okay. Dear professors and friends, welcome to our first international webinar, which produced by Istanbul Medipol University Psychological Counseling and Guidance Student Club. I want to start our program by mentioning about our webinar topic. Our first international webinar topic is global guidance and counseling. Everybody knows that people mostly have some mental health issues and psychological problems all around the world. These psychological problems affect our lives and behaviors. Thus, counseling and guidance is significant for all of people. Briefly, I want to mention about the significance of the global counseling and guidance. The global guidance and counseling play a pivotal role in fostering the well-being and success of individuals worldwide. In an increasingly interconnected world, it's recognized that mental health and emotional support are fundamental aspects of personal growth and development. By providing guidance and counseling services on a global scale, individuals are equipped with the necessary tools to navigate life's challenges, make informed decisions, and develop resilience in the face of adversity. This holistic approach acknowledges the diverse needs and experience of individuals from different cultural backgrounds, ensuring that support is culturally sensitive and inclusive. Moreover, global guidance and counseling not only promotes mental well-being, but also contributes to the overall advancement of societies by nurturing healthy relationships, fostering empathy and understanding, and empowering individuals to reach their fullest potential. It's recognized that everyone, regardless of their background or circumstances, deserves access to quality guidance and counseling services to thrive in an interconnected world. Now, I want to introduce and mention about webinar flow. Our program continues between 20th of May and 21st of May. In 20th of May, Associate Professor Nurlaila Effendy, who from Widya Mandala University in Indonesia, she will tell us positive organization, approach, and application. Then PhD Pietro Crescenzo, who from University of Bari, he will mention us burnout in healthcare volunteers. It's briefly emergency psychology. In 21st of May, Mrs. Solmaz Bulut will give information on family-based crisis intervention for youths, and Professor A.D. Jacobs from West Virginia University will mention us impact therapy. Lastly, I want to express my thanks to our organization committee, my dear Associate Professor Nadire Gülçin Yıldız, Professor Sefa Bulut, PhD candidate Sümeyye Ediz Burhan, and my dear friend and committee chairman Emre Eren Balcı. Thank you for listening to me, and again, welcome to our first webinar. I wish you pleasant listening, and I leave the floor to my Professor Sefa Bulut.
Good afternoon and good evening, everyone. For those people that I know, my former boss, Professor Canan Çetin Kanat, I warmly greet you. Welcome to here. And Professor Afife Anjum from Pakistan, thank you for coming here. And most I deeply thank to my friend Nurlaila Effendi. She accepted the invitation. I know that she has very busy schedule. Even right now, she's on the travel and doing some seminar and education. She's joining us in hotel room now. It's like 10 p.m. in Indonesian time. Thank you for your sacrifice and being with us. You are a wonderful friend. My name is Sefa Bulut. I am professor at Counseling Psychology Department, Ibn Haldun University. Ibn Haldun University and Medipol University, we jointly organized this webinar, Student Global Guidance and Counseling seminar together. And I also thank Dr. Nadire Gülçin Yıldız and Sümeyye Hoca and president of the student club, Emre Eren Balcı, for organizing this event. I would like to introduce Dr. Nurlaila Effendy to you. She has been a wonderful friend for us and for the Turkish people. She has been here many times. She came and she gave lecture and presentation for us, as well as other conferences. She is member of Vidya Mandala Catholic University. She is a psychologist, associate professor. Formerly, she worked as regional manager at Merck, Pfizer, Fournier, pharmacy and medicine companies. She has been consulted as performance management system organizer. She is professional coach, server. She is a member of various psychology associations, including Society of Quality Life, International Positive Psychology Association, Indonesian Positive Psychology Association, Organizational and Industrial Psychology Association, New Zealand Psychology Association. Most importantly, she is head of Indonesian Positive Psychology Association chair and president. She has been doing a lot of seminar and education and training in that area. She has been keynote speaker in a lot of conferences in other part of the world. She has many copyrighted books and book chapters. She holds many certification from different organizations. She's giving lecture and seminar and doing research in well-being, gratitude, happiness. Finally, she has been very kind and nice friend of us. She is also a research partner, our research partner. Nadir Hoca da came. She also came. And now I will leave the floor to Nurlaila Effendi. She will give us a speech about the application of positive psychology in organizational level. She will have 50 minutes to talk, and then we will have opportunity 10 minutes to discuss and ask question. Please feel free, prepare your question. After the lecture, we will have a session to discuss. Nurlaila Effendi, please, you may start introducing yourself and start your lecture.
Okay. Thank you, Prof. Sefa, for introducing me. He is good at introducing speakers, so it's interesting. First, I would like to say thank you, Dr. Nadir from Istanbul Medical University and Prof. Sefa, Ibnu Khaldun University, for inviting me to this webinar. Thank you, I appreciate it. Okay, hi everyone, good afternoon. Okay, my full name is Nurlaila Effendi, but you can call me Laila. 10 years ago, I just start work at university. So I am newbie actually, I'm newbie in the scientist area. I joined with Mandala University, Vidya Mandala University in Surabaya City. Surabaya City is the second biggest city in Indonesia, close to Bali. I think you know Bali. Bali is a very popular place in Indonesia for tourism. But as Prof. Sefa told to you that now I am not in Surabaya, but I am in another city in Semarang City and hotel. So you can see my background. Okay, I think Prof. Sefa have ever been in Semarang City too. Yes, right?
Semarang?
Semarang City.
Probably, I keep forgetting
Yeah,
because
yeah,
the
yeah,
name are very
okay.
similar.
Okay, okay. Yes, 3 weeks ago, I met Prof. Sefa and his family in Istanbul. It was my fifth visit to Turkey, and I hope I go to Turkey again and again because I love Cappadocia, Istanbul, of course, and Rumi Place in Konya. In the spirit in the afternoon in Turkey and here in Indonesia toward midnight. Okay, may I share my slide presentation? Can I?
Yes, please.
Okay. Oh yeah, Because I'm at hotel, I'm sorry, I have to turn off camera for more stable internet at the hotel. Okay. Wait a minute. Is it okay?
Yes, now it's good.
Okay, thank you. Oh, okay. Last September, I was at Biruni University for 4th Eurasian Positive Psychology Congress. Prof. Typhen invited me to Congress. And for the last 7 years, I have been interested in positive psychology, especially topic flourishing, happiness, positive psychology coaching, meaning, and positive organization, positive leadership. And for today, my topic is positive organization approach and application. The positive organization is a big topic. Usually, I lecture at several universities and need 3 sessions for positive organization scholarship, positive intervention, and positive leadership. Okay, I will try to mix them in this webinar. I have more 70 slides, I think. We will discuss it fast. So let's start to discuss it. Okay, the world is constantly changing. The television from black and white to interactive. This slide I made 23 years ago, which was still the beginning of interactive research at the time. And now interactive broadcast and internet access have been done. All that's left is to enhance broadcast. Changing also happened likewise with the development of medicine, the telephone, etc. So the world is constantly changing. We are in the industrial revolution 4.0 and transition to 5.0, where living conditions are faster than in before industrial revolution. But unfortunately, we were experiencing a pandemic too. So we are experiencing a double disruption, the Industrial Revolution 4.0 and COVID-19, which makes change run very fast. So we must adapt quickly during the pandemic and post-pandemic. Let's take a look at global companies in the last 3 years. Does anyone know the Fortune 500? The Fortune 500 is annual list compiled and published by Fortune magazine that rank the 500 of the largest United States corporation by total revenue for their respective fiscal years. Companies affect the global many countries. The first list was published in maybe 1955, but it changed fast. Fortune 500 in 1990, I once a company number 2 after IBM, namely Merck Sharp and Dohme, and Coca-Cola number 12. Yes, IBM has had number 1 for years, but now, where is IBM? Okay. In 2020, Walmart was number 1, and several Asia countries are in the top 10. But in 2020, reported this year, there was a change in position. Okay. Does anyone remember Yahoo or Nokia? Nokia used to be a very popular mobile phone at the time. Now, how are they? We must realize that Kodak is gone now. Anybody realize that Kodak is gone? Yes. But so a company that has survived after more than 250 years. Sumitomo. Stora in Europe is more than 700 years. They can adapt to the company's external situation. The key word is adaptive. Okay. Companies may be in good condition, but then face external situation, such as competitors, regulation, or global crisis. Adaptive companies consist of people who are adaptive to respond to changing external situation. But now, generation is a challenge in itself in organization and industries. Maybe there can be 4 or 5 different generations with different values and behavior in one company. Indonesia has a population of more than 270 million. And you can see millennial and Z generation dominate the workforce. Many companies are starting to pay attention to organization climate adapt to the millennial and Z generation. From leadership style, climate to the layout. This picture in example of a bank in department in Indonesia. Look at the inside of the building without any partition. And it's fun. There is a telephone box to talk privately and look at the red and green light indicate whether a office is changing too. On the Holland Integral, the organization consists of macro, namely the organization itself and outside the organization, environment, market, customer, economic situation, etc. And then meso, such as the marketing department, finance department, or if at a university, for example, the psychology faculty, counseling department, and micro is individuals and employee job. Pressure can also appear at the macro, meso, and micro level. At the macro level, stress can arise from administration, bureaucracy, office politics, strategy change, organizational process, work condition, etc. And how about the meso level? At the meso level, stress can arise from lack of a group cohesiveness, lack of social support. How about at the micro level? At the micro level, stress arises because overload, job insecurity, work-family conflict, situational construction, etc. So we can see on this slide that if we are stressed, a chemical reaction will occur in our body, both in the autonomic nervous and in endocrine system. Of course, this will affect the individual as an employee and mentally. Let's look at the health and emotion of the heart rhythm. There are different in heart rhythm between frustrated and appreciate people. So this need to be a concern for the organization. Okay, let's look at this slide, which is a deviance continuum in the organization. Pay attention to individuals and organization. In the individual, there are physiological and psychological. In negative continuum, individual within the company can experience physical and psychological illness. And organization experience economic ineffective, inefficient, etc. Organization need to get into a better context, usually enter a normal continuum. where individuals are physically and psychologically healthy and company are profitable. But in a positive organization, the company enter a flourishing organization, and the individual experience high vitality physically and psychologically, experience flow when working, that is, enjoys working, time goes fast, and of course become very productive, and the individual will feel happy working. This is positive continuum is the target of a positive organization. Okay, in this condition, positive emotion is very important. Why? I will be an explanation later, and it is not that negative emotions are destructive because everything has its function. Both positive and negative emotion have its part. Okay, this emotion is circumscribed by Russell. In the left quadrant are negative emotion, and in the right are positive ones. The upper part is energy with high activation, and the lower is low on negative emotion that occur from force, and on positive emotion that arise from power. In Indonesia, we call tekanan and kekuatan. Okay, we all know and main function of emotion. Emotion is a generator and mobilization of energy. For example, angry, move to attack, either verbally or physically. Fear, move to run. Anxiety will reduce our power. Look at positive emotion. Happy, to carry something with passion. Love, move to get closer. Remember, when you fall in love, you want to be physically close and always close to your thought, right? For example, when you eat, you remember him or her. When you want to sleep, you remember him or her. Positive emotion and negative emotion are equally important, but have different function. God created it to have a function. Okay, we can see in the slide, the negative emotion have the function of solving problem of immediate survival. For example, we meet a snake. We need to use negative emotion. We can use positive emotion. And we fear to avoid for survival. But don't be carried away by fear. Why? Because negative emotion constrict our attention. We will pay attention to what we fear, so we don't focus on growth. In contrast to positive emotion, why? Positive emotion widen attention, so we can think more broadly and receive inspiration. Positive emotion have the function of solving problems concerning personal growth and development. But negative emotion have 3 times the power of positive emotion. For example, if we are hurt, we may feel for months or 1 year or even a long time. Meanwhile, if we are happy because recreation mostly lasts not long. Therefore, it is necessary to build positive emotion so that if we experience negative emotion, we can return to positive ones to continue developing. Let's follow the concept of Broaden and Bill's theory presented by Barbara Fredrickson, mother of positive emotion. That's why positive emotion is important in an organization to develop and grow. If we build and broaden our positive emotion, we will create more positive emotion and advance personal growth. For example, when we painting, we are happy and we develop the painting not only on canvas, but maybe on bags, on and material for clothes, so that we will have more and more ideas and we will become more excited. and positive emotion will increase. This is also a contributor to the growth mindset. Yes, we know a growth mindset is important for one's success and overcoming one's failure. A growth mindset is supported if we have a strength mindset, not a fixed mindset. A deficit mindset will lead to a fixed mindset. But unfortunately, we often encounter a deficit mindset, not a strength mindset, in parenting or at work. The deficit mindset focuses on shortcomings that are anticipated. Instead, it is necessary to focus on strength mindset, which will affect the growth mindset. At the same time, the deficit mind contributes to the fixed mindset. To live in every changing situation requires a strength mindset, also in organization. We can see that inner strength will affect these three things. Inner strength encourages optimism, both well-being, fundamental to happy, productive, and loving life. Before that, let's try to make a simulation to make sure that strength is important for our life. Why strength are important in our life? Okay, let's try to practice. Okay, try to make circle and boxes as on this slide. Leave it blank and don't have anything written on it first. The dark blue circle at the top is written on the achievement that have been achieved, whatever the achievement. For example, being accepted at a certain university, getting a high score, etc. Only two are written there. Okay. Now write in the second circle the problem that has been experienced and resolved in the last 2 or 3 years. Please write 1 or 2 as you can. Try to fill your strength in the strength box. Is it knowledge? Is it knowledge, skill, or positive character? It is strength. For example, commitment, hard work, etc. Please write there. In the weakness boxes, please try to fall in your weakness. For example, procrastination or laziness or others. Now you try to connect your achievement and strength. Okay, just try it. Which of your strengths support your achievement? As in this example, okay? Please connect. Can they be connected? Yes, they can. Okay, now try to connect with a weakness support your achievement. Can you relate? We can. Okay, now we go to the problem. Try connecting with a strength support the problem to be solved. Can you? Yes, you can. Okay, now try to connect with weakness support the problem solved. It cannot. Well, so in life, we want to achieve achievement and overcome problem. It's turned out that what plays a role is strength, not weakness. Are weakness ignored? Not really. Just anticipate our weakness, which we develop our strength. Okay? We are lucky. In positive psychology, there is a VIA character strength that we can check ourselves. There are 24 character strength and 6 virtues that will build flourishing. Let's take a look at this slide. Why does character build virtue and flourishing? Do you know salt? Salt? Doesn't it taste salty? Salty? Sugar tastes sweet, right? If the salt is gone, is it still physically salt? Yes, but its function is lost. So is sugar. If the sweetness is lost physically, it is still there, but its function is lost. Well, like that is strength and virtue. If we don't develop our strength and virtue, then as human, our function is lost. Even though God has given us, we must recognize and set it to achieve flourishing. It happened in organization too. Because this is a character, not talent, it is not maximal, but optimal. So as Aristoteles said, virtue is in the middle, not extreme left and extreme right. So not underuse and not overuse, but optimal use. This optimal use will help us in running our life. Okay, next slide. In the iceberg competency model from Spencer and Spencer, there are visible part and invisible part. In the invisible part, there are knowledge and skill, both hard skill and soft skill. In the visible part, there are self-concept, trait, and motive. The invisible or hidden part is important because it will encourage the visible part. So, self-concept, positive trait, and intrinsic motivation play a role in our competence as a capital for our growth and resilience. Yes, and character strength can be applied in various contexts: school, social, and community, and work. Positive psychology is the scientific study of optimal human function, virtues, and human strength. Okay, we can see on this slide the difference between clinical psychology and positive psychology. Positive psychology does not only solve problems, but optimize performance. To be optimal, you need strength. With strength, we can achieve optimal performance. This also happens in organization. Okay, we need to know the founder of the International Positive Psychology Association. Seligman is the father of positive psychology. Unfortunately, at dinner and Mihai Csikszentmihalyi passed away last year. Yes, I was very sad. Okay, the goal of positive psychology is pleasant life, a good life, have a meaningful life. It's called flourishing. Yes, flourishing is a combination of feeling good and functioning effectively. So flourishing is synonymous with a high level of mental well-being and symbolize mental health. So all objective intervention in positive psychology are flourishing, include in organization. Okay. There are 4 flourishing concepts from Case, Crescenzo, Ediner, and Seligman. The concepts are similar, but different measurement tools. Okay, this slide, this concept of flourishing is from Seligman flourishing concept. PERMA, P, positive emotion, E, engagement, R, relationship, meaning, and accomplishment. Okay, so on the mental health spectrum, the position of flourishing is on the far right, highest mental health or highest well-being. In the continuum deviant, do you remember it? Continuum deviant. The flourishing of individual and organization is in positive deviance, not normal deviance. Okay. Prof. Seva and I have conducted a flourishing survey on millennial in Indonesia and Turkey, namely in Jakarta and Istanbul. And we know millennials are key important in the organization. We need to pay attention to millennial and Z generation. We are going to discuss positive organization. Sorry. Yes. if we pay attention the context of well-being, it consists of individual, interpersonal, community, society, and planet well-being. Organization enter into community well-being in which there is interpersonal well-being. Okay, we are going to discuss positive organization. I was present when the OECD presented about well-being from measurement or research to policy in Granada, ESKOLS conference. The image on the picture on the right is the application for that. This picture is between society and the community, namely in the judicial department in the United Arab Emirates. Yes, in the UAE, develop happiness in its country. I think they have a happiness ministry. At the time I had entered to the department, if you look at the word happiness customer center in the picture, they serve the community so that people are happy. On one side of the organization, there is a happiness unit to concern employee happiness. I have also asked people who works in petrol company there. They have survey on happiness and engagements in the company. If it's low, the CEO can be dismissed. They are concerned with the happiness and engagement of the organization. These two things are important to be happy and productive. Okay, another organization that can be developed is a school is positive education. Seligman and his team built positive education at Geelong Grammar School in Australia, namely the positive education and well-being framework. In Indonesia, this concept already exists in Surabaya, my city, and Semarang city. As you know, right now I am in Semarang city, my parents' home. Okay, how about in organization? Line group makes a mapping, namely basic belonging and engagement and well-being. It's with a program to build a well-being pyramid in the organization. We will discuss Cameron's approach in more detail at the beginning of the slide about an organization. Okay, happiness is important in organization. On the deviance continuum, we focus on the positive continuum, where there is a green circle, which is the target of positive organization. The individual within them experience flow at work and physically have high vitality and great energy due to the dominant positive emotion. We will see in the next slide how flow appears. Okay. Csikszentmihalyi concept of flow shows that people experience flow when there is a high challenge and high competence. People with high competence and moderate challenge can control their work, complete their work, but less productive than people who experience flow. If people have high challenge with low competence, they will experience anxiety. And flow is also a dimension of engagement. It is absorption dimension. And the emotion circumflex engagement is in the upper right quadrant that says a positive emotion with high energy. Okay. It was a study by Claudia. It's a very interesting study that she presented at the 6th World Congress of Positive Psychology in Melbourne. Strength is positively correlated with engagement and negatively correlated with stress. If we develop strength, we will not easily experience with stress. Okay, in integral holon, in the organization, there is positive organization scholarship, or commonly called positive organization, at the macro and meso level. At the micro level, there is a positive organization behavior we call psychological capital. Psychological capital. And the important key in the leader, namely positive leadership. The concept of integral, concept of Ken Wilber, all quadrant, all levels, which Punchat adapted. I surprised last year at European Conference on Positive Psychology in Iceland that Tim Lomas presented that concept. Yeah, I was surprised. This concept from integral psychology, actually, I learned integral psychology before I learned positive psychology. There are 4 quadrants. The left quadrant is the invisible interior part. And the right quadrant is the visible exterior part. At the top are individual and at the bottom communities. And the key to the concept of all quadrant, all level is in the upper left quadrant, namely the quadrant of consciousness. So, if the leader has good personal meaning, he will share values, build his competence, and employee competence, sure, and build or strengthen system within the organization. Meaning is a dimension of positive organization. Okay. The strategy for building a positive organization is by developing 4 main dimensions: positive meaning, positive relationship or high quality connection, and positive climate. Before the pandemic, the Indonesian Positive Psychology Association worked with the SWA business magazine. SWA is a very popular business magazine in Indonesia, to hold a positive organization award at a 5-star hotel. We surveyed companies at all level and all department with sampling. Yes, sure, with sampling. And top management presented corporate program and their culture in front of 3 judges, and on one of whom was me. Winners are divided into revenue above 5 trillion and below 5 trillion. Okay. Positive climate is one of the dimensions of a positive organization, which included goals in celebration, dignity, concern and care, safety, security, justice, kindness, and compassion. And another dimension of a positive organization is positive communication. Positive communication is not just good communication, but more than that. So it consists of integrative and constructiveness, each of which has 3 points: inclusiveness, respectfulness, supportiveness, and constructiveness, solution focus, future orientation, collaborative interaction. Okay, besides that, another dimension is a positive relationship. This relationship is also not just a good relationship, but like a best friend at work, because there are leading others to respond positively, happy expression when others are successful, empathy, respect for others, helping each other, and fun. Fun is important. Okay. Another dimension is meaning. There are 3 orientation in work. The first level is job orientation work, whose focus in material benefit. As long as he get or she get it because of the performance, it's okay, no problem. However, this orientation become easier to experience pressure than career orientation. Okay, at the second level, there is career orientation work. The millennial and the millennial generation and Z generation, most of them have entered this orientation, career orientation work. When they start working, they will see how self-development is. They can explore their potential. Pay attention when they have a career to pay a house, etc. At this level, if they don't get financial, they can see other benefit. For example, during pandemic, they may not get good income, but they can have much time to develop themselves, free online webinar or free course or others. For instance, so they don't experience pressure easily. The next level is calling orientation work. They focus on fulfillment through work, thinking about more extraordinary contribution. Job orientation and career orientation are still individual focused. While calling orientation work, the focus is bigger than himself or herself. Okay, so someone with personal meaning will share values with others and develop his ability. They will also contribute to institution, organization, community, and society. So the meaning is essential. And the calling orientation, they will get what the job orientation and career orientation got. Okay. The dimension of meaning is very important in the workplace. The meaning of work is meaning fulfilling that an individual has in carrying out his work and making meaning in work, so that individual can contribute optimal to a job. There is meaning in work and there is meaning at work. The idea is to have both, so that employee love where employee work and like and feel meaningful. The completely inspired employee who love the company and what they do personally, as and the blue quadrant. However, employee can have high meaning at work, high meaning at work, employee can have high meaning at work, yes, but low meaning in work. Such is the green quadrant. It can also occur in other quadrant. Employee love the company, but aren't inspired by what they do daily. Okay, so what's next? What can we do? Management can manage meaning in the workplace. Employees need to match with the company or organization to be more excellent. Work as a meaning model has two focuses, work comprehension and work of purpose. For work purpose, individual and organization have aligned goals. In work comprehension, they are aligning values between individual and organization. Then employee will strengthen the meaning in work and meaning at work. Okay, Professor Sticker developed at tools for measuring meaning in the workplace. OWAMI, brief calling skill. As we know, calling is the highest meaning in work. Meaning of work. Okay. Organization goals are how each individual has high performance or good performance. Meaning contributes to performance, and meaning is also supported by intrinsic motivation. The performance will have a greater impact on individual personal growth. Therefore, intrinsic motivation need to be considered. What is the intrinsic type of individual or employee motivation to be maintained so that it's become dominant? If not, then extrinsic motivation will dominate. Okay. We can see which of our intrinsic motivation are divided into 4 types, all of which are good. Usually, there is no single type of intrinsic motivation, but there is a dominant ones. Sense of choice, ability to use judgment and freedom when completing tasks. They like to be given delegating, authority, autonomy, and trust. The important thing is to get precise information and goals. Then they will do a good job. By the way, they don't like punishment. They don't need to be treated to do well. But different sense of competence. On the sense of competence, the accomplishment associated with doing high quality work. They focus on knowledge, positive feedback, recognition of expertise, challenges, high standard or non-comparison. On the sense of meaningfulness, task purpose is important and meaningful. Focus on free of cynical climate. Clearly identified patient, interesting goals, relevant tasks, objective overall tasks. On the sense of progress, feeling that one is completing something important, people who in this type like it when there is a project, for example, they are asked about its progress, where it has been well done or not, etc. So, a leader or partner may need to know what the motivation of his subordinate or partner are to act appropriately. Incorrect example. For the progressing sense type, she calls and asks if her partner has eaten or not, while where is the concern. But for the sense of choice, it is like being controlled, because sense of choice like autonomy, trust, authority. It's different. So leaders need to understand subordinates so they can maintain and strengthen intrinsic motivation. And unfortunately, I don't know the measurement of type intrinsic motivation. Maybe we can do it next time. What if many employees are dominant extrinsic motivation, not intrinsic motivation? Okay, from the concept of self-determination from Ryan and Deji, we can see for extrinsic motivation, from external regulation to integrated regulation in extrinsic motivation, lead to intrinsic motivation. So the HR department in organization with the leader of each department sits with position the dominant of employee is in. They can make a program so that it leads to the right intrinsic motivation. For example, suppose employees are more involved in external regulation, In that case, they will be motivated by reward and punishment. So, HR department or an leader in the company make program where their egos begin to be involved with the approval of others in the introjected regulation. Move the right side. If he has an excellent performance to be announced, it can be through to the company's official circular or photo of him face at the best performance this month. It's for example. Okay. Now let's look at the micro level. Micro level is psychological capital. At the micro level, you can make program to that psychological capital. Psychological capital is resilience, self-efficacy, hope, and optimism develop well. Individuals need psychological capital or psycap to be flexible and adapt to change and performance. So why psychological capital is one of global mindset. For global mindset, we need psychological capital. Okay. There are several examples of intervention within an organization whose goal is to achieve flourishing. Meta-analysis for 51 studies in PPI, positive psychology intervention, involving more than 4,000 people. The results shown that positive psychology intervention can improve well-being and reduce depression. CBT and PPI method influence both a change in depression and life satisfaction, but are different. PPI contribute to the well-being component, namely improving the hedonic and eudaimonic component. CBT improve thing related to perceived gain and emotion and acceptance. In positive psychology, there is also positive CBT, which Frederick Penning developed, but I didn't learn positive CBT yet. I don't know. Okay. Mindfulness is a study in transpersonal psychology. In transpersonal psychology, not in positive psychology. But Effendy from UK, but now he moved in US, develops a positive psychology into positive mindfulness, which has a different purpose than in transpersonal psychology. In positive psychology, in positive mindfulness, there are strength, and flourishing. Positive emotion, engagement, meaning. Let's look at another intervention. Mindfulness-based strength practice. There are strength and dimension of flourishing. There are strength, signature strength, engagement with life. It's a dimension of flourishing. Okay. On positive psychotherapy from Seligman and Taya Prasid, starting with strength and the end developing to flourishing. This approach is different from the psychotherapy we know so far. Taya Prasid is from Toronto University and moved to Melbourne University a few months ago and came to Turkey last September. We were guest speaker at the Biruni University Eurasian Conference on Positive Psychology. Let's next slide. Coaching. Coaching in positive psychology is different. Yeah, positive psychology coaching combine ICF standard and positive psychology. ICF is International Coaching Federation. Developed by Biswasdiner, son of Ediner and his partner. There are 4 foundations from ICF and 2 from positive psychology. 4 foundation from ICF and 2 from positive psychology, happiness, positivity, and character strength. In Indonesia, I developed positive coaching, not positive psychology coaching, but positive coaching with 4 foundations from positive psychology, mindset, and positive emotion. This concept is needed in Indonesia based on research, survey, and observation. We can say positive psychology coaching can be applied to life coaching, business coaching, relationship coaching, etc. And the goal is a flourishing life. Okay. There are occupational wellness programs to improve mental health in the workplace developed by my team and my colleagues in Indonesia. Also, Peggy and Miquet have a toolkit that we can develop to increase meaning or improve other things such as positive emotion, accomplishment, engagement. Yes. I met them in Montreal, World Congress on Positive Psychology. They launched a book. The title of the book. Wait a minute. Your well-being blueprint. Feeling good and doing well at work. It was a good book for practice. Okay. Next October, there will be an international conference on positive psychology in organization. Frederick Penick, Prof. Seva, and I will speak there. Please, if anyone want to join the call for paper, for presentation, or as conference participant, please come. Okay. With a positive organization, employee no longer, I hate Monday, but I love Monday. In closing, I have one question. What is the general difference between work and play? Anyone know? Or job? What is the general difference between work or jobs and play? Yes, job is responsibility. Usually we said that. Play is pleasure. But my last slide, the lucky person is the one who can tell the difference between play and work because he or she has never worked in his or her life. But every month will get income. Okay. Keynet Blanchett thought. Okay, it's my presentation. Thank you. Teşekkür ederim.
Okay, we thank you. I know it's very late now in Indonesia. Probably it's like 12 o'clock. Yeah. Thank you making your time and preparing those slides for us. We greatly enjoy your presentation. It was very rich. It was very visual and very rich. We got different ideas about how positive psychology can be applied in work and work situation and organizations. We are mostly psychologists and counseling psychologists. We are not very used to working with organization or working at organizational level. This definitely provided us a wonderful perspective. We can probably go ahead and read different resources and have some idea how we can apply some pillars of positive psychology to organizational level. Now I would like to open the ground to the discussion, but before, I really deeply thank to you in my name and my university name and our friends' name to making your time and coming here and giving this wonderful presentation for us. Of course, we have a certificate and a little gift to you. Whenever we reach to you or we will send to you, we will organize something for you. And
not needed.
And now, now it's time for the question and some comments. We would like to receive your questions and your comments. You can just go ahead and ask straight to Dr. Nurlaila.
Dr. Nadir?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. And while we are waiting for questions to be asked,
Oh,
I like to also thank you so much for taking time,
thank you.
squeezing time into your busy schedule and meeting with our students. So they're highly appreciated. They're delighted to meet you. And I hope that they learned, new stuff regarding positive psychology, and it sparked their interest. Thank you so much for being with us. I hope to meet with you physically too at our
Yeah.
sometime.
Maybe we will meet in person next time.
Yes, inshallah.
Inshallah.
And also, yes.
It's time
Yes,
for
sir.
question and contributions.
I heard for the first time psychological capital, so that was very interesting in terms of,
Yes.
as a construct. So that was something new. But I also heard, so many other different ideas related to managing, dealing with positive organizations. So that
Yes.
was my short comment.
Yeah. It's new too in Indonesia because we just know about psychological capital maybe 5 years ago. It's new for us too.
Yes.
Yes, another question, comments, please.
Please feel free to raise your hand and comment.
Okay, Canan Hoca, please go ahead. Please
Maybe
open.
late
Okay.
night.
Yes.
Hi, Leila. Thank you for the wonderful
Hi.
presentation. I have a brief question. If the
Mhm.
environment and the employees are very happy and in a positive relation in the organization, and what happens if the leader changes and an autocratic leader comes? And how can we help the employees or the organization? What can we do? What's your opinion? Just a brief answer, please. If the leader changes, what happens to employee and the organization?
You mean leadership style?
Leadership style or the person changes? I mean, what happens to the organization? Because positive relationship and positive organizational climate really depends on the leadership.
Yes.
So, what can we do? How can we help the organization and the employees?
If your leader, for example, autocratic,
Sorry?
if your leader is autocratic style,
If the leader changes, the person is in autocratic style. For
okay.
okay.
Yes. Maybe it's our department, head of its our department is also key important in the organization, not only in the leader. Because it's our department, human resource department. They focus on people management. So the head of its art department can influence positive effect in leadership style in organization. For example, they can invite speaker or consultant or facilitator to the company to inform the leader, for example, middle leader or top leader in the company. So they will aware about how important lifestyle leadership style in the company. Positive leadership is important, I think, because they will make positive, make to influence positive organization. Because positive emotion is important to develop and growth for the employee in the organization. Maybe
Okay,
it's like
thank
that.
you. Thank you.
Maybe it's
Okay,
like
it's
that.
enough.
I guess we are. If there is any more question, real quick, we can take one last question. If not, we can finish. But before we finish, I would like to really acknowledge my professor, my former department head, Canan Çetin Kanat. She has been wonderful friend, wonderful boss, wonderful department head.
Wow.
We used to work together like 10 or 15 years. We had good times. We become real friends. I really appreciate her positive attitudes and her support and her energy. She has been very great person. She deserves this.
Prof. Seva, I
Thank
can
you,
feel it
Seva.
on online interaction.
Yeah, she has been my
I can
boss.
feel it on online interaction.
Yeah. And again, an applause for Leila. She did good job.
Thank you.
We have to. Okay, we have to take a 15 minutes break and then come back. The second speaker is going to be from Italia.
Professor, can everyone open their camera for take a photo?
Yeah, that would be very nice. Please.
Good idea.
Please open your camera. It's a nice day. A nice spring day.
Yes.
For those who are here, please open your camera. I know there are people from other countries as well. You guys, are you here? Pietro is here. Pietro, open your camera.
Hi.
Hi.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Okay. Okay, let's take your picture.
It's weekend for students.
Okay, you guys are taking picture. Go ahead. Yes, that's good. Yeah, probably that's enough. Let's meet at 7:30. We will have a guest. Pietro is gonna present some emergency psychology work from Italia. I really expect you to join us and listen to this wonderful presentation.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sure.
See you next time in person.
Leila,
Bye.
thank you. You
Thank
can
you.
stay, but it's
Bye.
late, I know.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, again. Our webinar is going to continue with PhD Pietro Crescenzo, and I leave the floor to PhD candidate Sümeyye Eliz Burhan for introduce Dr. Pietro.
Thank you, Havanur. Dear academic students, ladies and gentlemen, and especially Dr. Crescenzo, good day. Again, a warm welcome and thank you for joining this webinar, which is named Global Guidance and Counseling Congress. I'm Eliz. I'm a research assistant in psychological counseling at Medical University. Today, I will moderate the second session in the webinar. We are looking forward to hear what Dr. Pietro Crescenzo has to say. He will present burnout in healthcare workers and volunteers in brief emergency psychology. But first, I want to introduce Dr. Pietro Crescenzo. He put his signature under important successes. He has a PhD degree in educational research methodology and a master's degree in dynamic clinical community psychology. And he has also 3 postgraduate masters. First one in attention and hyperactivity disorders. Second one is management, administration, and development of human resources. And third one in school psychology. His actual position is postdoctoral research fellowship in educational psychology at University of Bari, Aldo Moro, contract professor at University of Siena for special needs specialization course. He is a clinical, work, school, educational, military, and emergency psychologist. His research interests are stress syndrome and burnout of helping professions in correlation to personality and coping strategies. He also worked for University of Siena as contract professor and as head teacher for University of Salerno. He is an associate editor for Frontiers in Psychology, Trends in Psychology, and member of editorial board of Journal of Health and Social Sciences. He is also reviewer for several index journals. He is the retired psychologist officer, recallable service of Italian Red Cross Volunteer Military Corps, because he serves as psychologist and formator of emergency and disaster psychology. Following a publication in an international sector magazine, he was awarded a diploma of merit from the Italian Red Cross with this motivation, an officer of the Italian Red Cross Volunteer Military Corps, psychologist. He carried out research work with dedication and passion on a large sample of volunteers, obtaining publication in a prestigious international scientific journal, thus bringing prestige to association. Through this webinar, I hope you will be better informed and equipped with helpful tools and guidance. Thank you again. Welcome to this webinar. Now, I give dear Dr. Crescenzo the floor.
Hi, everyone. I'm just starting with a question for you all, students. How are you? How are you in this moment? It's a simple
raise
question.
my hand?
How are your feelings about? It's a simple question, but it's the first question of every psychologist. How are you? It's your point of view. It's important because every helping professionist have to know the other point of view. So, what is emergency psychology? Emergency psychology is a very big part of psychology disciplines. Today, I want to speaking about just a little part of emergency psychology, because it's a prevention psychology. Prevention intervention psychology is not only in the storm, but is previously to prepare population and rescuer, physician, to help people. So it's part of my presentation. Is just a little part of emergency psychology. What happened to rescuer? What happened to volunteers? What happened to physicians, to nurses? What happened in the mind of helpers when storm strike? What is our role in the emergency as a psychologist? So, thanks for the presentation. I have to say, I have two lives. One is a civilian, as a researcher in the University of Bari, and the other side, I'm an officer, military officer of Italian Red Cross Military Corps, psychologist officer, and I serve my country to form and to prepare our soldiers for the emergency. So I have to speaking about what happened in the mind of rescuer in every form. But I have to speak. I have started presentation. Did you see them?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes, we see.
Perfect. I just what are my really interest. They also say, what is stress? My ask about how are you? What do you feel? It's nearest to what is stress. What is stress? I have to speaking about because it's the basis for emergency psychologists. But what is stress for you? Every answers would be nice. It's a simple, not only academic definition. Is it right that could we say stress is present in your real life, in daily life? Stress was descent from a Latin word strictus, means oppressed, lack of movement, constrictions. So what is stress in your life? As a student, I suppose you have to pass an exam. So when you are studying, we can say you are under stress. So stress is a good or evil thing. What happened to our body, to our mind when we are under stress? In fact, the last entry, a physician, Hans Sayer, stolen a word stress from physics. In physics, stress is the forces capable of deforming a body. It's a force, so strong force that every body be deformed by. So he stolen this word and applied to physiology and create a new definition, a non-specific response of body to any demand from environment. So imagine you are staying in your life, you are enjoying life with your friends, with your family, you stay in the street, and you see a car go too fast in your direction. What do you feel? You stay in the street, and you see a car go too fast in your direction. What is your first feeling? It's a protection for yourself. It's protecting your friend, your family. What do you do? What happened in your body? What are your feelings about? You are feeling fear. You are feeling fear. You feel your body react to the event. What happened to your heart? What happened to your arms? Your body, you are prepared to attack or go away. And this is a physiological reaction, but you are sick. So it's also mental preparation to react. And we are in the the second half of the last century. And it's also today actually definition. In fact, several years later, Sayers defined general adaptation syndrome, or otherwise, stress is a general adaptation syndrome. The body reacts to stress events and have to cope with the dangers in that moment. But it's not specific reaction, it's generalized. So you can say the reaction of body is similar because it's a internal activation of the event. And we have to cope because our life could be in danger. The life of our friends, the life of our family. So what we have to do? And body and mental are preparing to cope to the event. But we have to say stress is not pathology. When we say I am under stress, I have to prepare an exam, I have to pass an exam, I have a degree, the thesis discussion, I have some something to do that make me under stress. But stress is environmental and not evitable. Stress is present in daily life. We can do nothing. It's present. So it's not correct to say stress is a pathology. Stress is a reaction to cope in event and help us to survive, to have everything in our life. So it's necessary to have stress in our life. The Nurlaila adaptation syndrome, it's something happened to our to our life, and we have to cope. So the first phase is alarm. What happened in this moment? I'm feeling in danger. So I have to activate the first phase is alarm, it's a first activation. The second part, I have to cope to event. I have to cope. Sorry, I'm Italian, so I use most part of my hands and my gesticulation. So we are Italian and we want to say that. So the first part is, the second part is to resist to the events. After is exhaustion phase. It's more important the last part, the last phases. Because in this part, if the coping is not so good, we can have depression, we can have the post-traumatic stress disorder. We have an evil reaction and not good reaction to the event. We have to pay attention in this phase. But emergency psychologists operate before alarm phases and during resistance and after exhaustion phase. Because our work is completely not only in the worst moment, but we have to prepare people to react to the event, not all in the worst moment. So we have to distinguish positive and negative reaction to stress. The stress is a negative reaction, depression, DPTS, burnout syndrome, and the other thinking about all your psychosomatic reaction. If you have to come to home after work and you have a stomachache or headache, what happened to your internal body? Could be a somatic reaction to stress. And we can define this distress. But sometimes people say, I am under stress. I give my best part under stress. Or I have good coping strategies to stress. We can call them eustress or positive stress reaction. It's important to say this because emergency psychology operates before, during, and after emergency. Extraordinary events. In fact, I want to focalize between this difference. The worst coping strategies or consequence of stress are post-traumatic stress disorder and burnout syndrome. What are the difference between this phenomenon? Post-traumatic stress is needs more months to be diagnosed. After 6 months, not the sleeping disorders, alcoholic disorders, or another kind. We can find it in the DSM for the fifth. Burnout syndrome is a completely different syndrome. We have to note this. American Psychological Association described PSD as a psychiatric condition. Intense psychological distress caused by an event when, in this event, we perceived us in danger, or we are lost our life, or the life of our family, our friends, so or serious injuries, or sexual violence, or death. We are exposed to the death. So what happened? It's a traumatic event, and we can recognize specifically traumatic events. The first man who started to recognize PTSD was an Italian officer during the First World War, and was very famous psychologist after the war, Agostino Gemelli. He is one of the most important physician and psychologist in Italy. In fact, the first hospital in Rome is Agostino Gemelli. And he started to recognize shell shocked, and was the First World War. After Second World War, and during Second World War, Wilfred Bion started to know that exposure to war makes something broken in the soldier, and we have to help them. But it's not war the problem. You can survive to car crash. You can survive to a very important event, or a terrorist act, or a rape, or survive by after attacking you in your real life. But this is a condition. Burnout definition, the first to define the burnout, were Freudberg, Christine Maslach, and Michael Later. They started that there are something different in the PTS. It is dysfunctional, prolonged coping, dysfunctional coping strategies to prolong the stressful events. So the difference between TPTS and burnout is time. During the war, you have a specific traumatic event. This is 1, 2, or 3 events, but they are specific. In burnout syndrome, you are exposed continually in your life to stressful events, and you have not good coping strategies for them. And we have 3 dimensions: emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, personal accomplishment. Emotional exhaustion is progressive. You have no energy, positive energy, You suffered about lack of energy, positive emotion, and a lack of enthusiasm at work. So you are starting hating your work. You are starting hating your clients. So what happened after depersonalization? You are starting to be cynic. You have a cold attitude, or you show your hostility to your colleagues or your patients. You started to manage your patients as a thing and not a human being. The third is your personal accomplishment. You have a reduction or lack of your job satisfaction. You started to hate your work. You don't want to do it more. You want to change your work. And it's very important because it's a typical syndrome of helping profession. Who are them? Physicians, nurses, policemen, army, navy, aviation, military forces, also firefighters, and last but not least, teachers and psychologists. Every profession that have a work with high touch emotion, with contact with human being, with painful human, or human with some problems. So it's a reaction to their pain in your life. And imagine a doctor that loses his patient. His patient could be very young. What happened in his mind? What happened in the mind of rescuer that I could make more for them? I was not capable to save his or her life. What happened during life? How many deaths see doctor in his life? How many patients losses? What happened to policemen that assist to sexual aggression to a child? What happens inside? What is the reaction? It's emotion that have to manage. And what happened in teacher minds when one of students are not good at school, or problem at home with family? What happened? This profession are in high touch contact with the human being. 4 phases in burnout. The first is idealistic enthusiasm. I am a good doctor. I am a good psychologist. I can save everyone. I can do my part in my life, and I could assist everyone because I am a good psychologist, good physician. The second part is a stagnation. Okay, I not like so much my work, but give me a compensation, give me money. I have to work. So okay, I going on. The third part is frustration. I hate my work. I don't want it more. I don't want to do it more. It's so frustrating to have to stay with the other people. And the last part is professional debt. I'm not satisfied with my job. I can do nothing with them. I have to do it, but I don't want it more. So my intervention is not so good for patients, and I have no energy to do it. It's my professional debt. During COVID, I was a psychologist during COVID to support physicians and nurses during the first wave. But before COVID, I published just a publication about burnout of volunteers, because the first objection is why volunteers suffer burnout syndrome. they are volunteers. They can stop where in every part of the day. It's not so simple. Volunteer is to be a part of a big family. You have you want to do something good in your life. And this is important. And it's not simple to stop your activities. I say it as a volunteers. And the first part, we recognize 6% of volunteers in Red Cross, little part of Italy, was an exploration people. 6% is suffering burnout syndrome. In fact, before COVID, we have 8% emotional exhaustion, 13 and 5% in depersonalization, and the second part in job lack of job accomplishment. Volunteers is part of sanitary system, of health system. In Italy, is a big part of hospital and health system. After COVID, we are started studying the phenomenon of burnout and distribution of burnout syndrome. And we realize also in psychologists, burnout is present in psychologists and in the other healthcare workers. Because it's important to say that fight an invisible enemy has a consequence. Because in the first wave of coronavirus, people are fear of our health. And what happened in the rescuers? They are the first barriers to the COVID. And what happened? What we have learned from this experience? What are prevention to do as a psychologist? Personality, individual characteristics, excessive dedication to work, workaholism, and voluntarism, excessive idealism, and this and that in the private sphere could be predictors of burnout syndrome. But it's important how to manage it. Personality, it's important. If you can study personality, you can have intervention to use and cope in the best way to fight the dangerous event. Protective factors we can detect is ability to perceive things as they are and not as we would like them to be. So, reality. Okay. Awareness of our own limits. I am human. I couldn't save the world. I can do my part, but I am not alone. So I have to recognize my limits. Ability to decide and take appropriate initiative. I'm not hero. I have not to save the world. I have to do my best part. It's a different. Ability to have interpersonal relationship. I have to see in the other good things. And I'm not the best in the world. Creativity. Who can save a life? Creativity could save a life. You have to be, you have to use creativity, especially in emergency. Functional coping strategies. You have to use the best coping strategies. And it's very important, adequate psychological training. If you want to be emergency psychologist, you can't, if just 1 week or 1 month after degree, you have to take a preparation. In Italy, we have association, we have Italian Red Cross, prepare very strong training, but you have to be trained because you could not younger psychologists. It's very too young to manage emergency. You have to prepare to it. Training group for activity. It's important. Meeting supervision. In our activity, we have a supervisor to protect us from our evil feelings, monitoring the risk situation. But you have to take care of yourself, to take care of your health, to take care in your future. The key to preventing and have a resilient response is emotional training of staff, guidelines, and clear guidelines and team building. This is part of emergency psychologist. You have to prepare the team. You have to assist team, but not during also in important team, in daily life. Ambulance, for example, the staff of ambulance. If staff of ambulance loses patients, what happened there, man? I have to help them to elaborate the event. So preparation, intervention during and after, but it's important. And this aspect, which may be of a purely technical nature, I'm sorry for that, but what matters in the ability to know how to work as a team and protect each other. The team is the most part of psychology, of emergency psychological unit. It's important to use your network in positively way, because the people, the teams, protect you from distress. Yeah, important. And the first step you have to do is the greatest act of love yourself, and is to asking help. If you want to be an helping profession, the first step is I need help. I need help for improve my profession. I need help to pass an exam. How can you have an intervention with a person that needs help if you are not able to ask help for yourself? Take care of yourself. The battle for your mental health, for your stability, is started yesterday. So you have to take care of yourself. Thank you.
We thank you, Dr. Crescenzo, for your rich and vital presentation. I think we got useful information. I was taken when you said, what happened to your heart? It made me think deeply. I want to say that. And also, it is important to know the difference between burnout and other type of traumatic events to intervene with it appropriately. And again, also causes of burnout and protective factors are important. They are, I want to say, thank you again. We are so appreciate.
Okay.
Now,
any question?
Yeah. Does anybody ask any question?
Yes, I have question. I am one of the presenter. I have a question. And PTSD is also one of my study area. I used to did research with PTSD and childhood sexual abuse. I am not sure, how did you relate PTSD to burnout? How it's related? How can you tie together? Which one causes which one?
they can stay together. It's if you have a PSD, you also can have a burnout syndrome. It's not no one excludes one. So if you have PSD, you have a traumatic event that is in your life. But burnout is a work syndrome. You have exposure continually to your environment. For example, in hospital, losses of life agents, or you assist to a patient that was abused. It's a burnout syndrome because you see in your work and in your activities, but it's not about yourself. In PTSD, you say you have new fears of your life and life of your friends and your families. This is the bitter difference. But if you have PSD, it's not excluded. It could be you're in burnout syndrome. For example, military physician during war can assist to war and patients. I'm not sure if that was clear.
No, what I'm saying is, like, if people are working in some place and for a while it's a painful and distracting scene, they can easily get burnout. But how about young people, such as young soldiers? They are going military service and coming back, or being in a very temporary situation. How this relate with PTSD?
I can say that burnout syndrome needs more time. More time exposure and absolutely dysfunctional coping strategies. PSD, you have for a soldier, for example, they are prepared to fight. They're prepared to see evil and fight evil. But the difference is feeling of our life, of my life. I see I'm in danger. I am in danger, or my comrade, or my family are in danger. And the bomb is just 1 meter from me. In burnout syndrome, there are the other sufferings on yourself. In PTSD, you see yourself in dangers. It's the difference. In burnout, I see the painful humanity. In PTSD, I see painful humanities, but I feel in dangers.
Okay, there is another issue here again. For PTSD and burnout, we need time. I mean, at least you need 2-3 more years to realize it. By the time this disorder come out, it takes time. Maybe sometimes takes 5-10 years to this come out and become real PTSD or full PTSD. But the real issue is here, like, how we are going to take precaution and protect young people who are going military service, who are going firefighting, or working with violence victims, or people are working with traffic accidents for the medical doctor, etc. Like, how we are going to prepare to make more resilient? Can we talk about a little bit resiliency here?
We have to prepare team intervention. The team is the best way to prepare for events. We can see a simulation during formation, a very strong simulation. We can prepare for the studying of personality of single member of teams, and studying the best how to use personality and coping strategies. So it's a very complex intervention. It's not so simple. This is for preparation. Also, after preparation, we have to support during events. So we can use MDR intervention, for example, and after intervention, we have to support to re-elaborize what's happening. And for example, the fusing technique to re-elaboration of events. So it's not a compartmentalized intervention. There is a first step to prepare a team. The second part is support during, and it's important to have a supervisor, an unseen supervisor. After, we can prepare, we have to support, and in extremely cases, we have to program psychotherapeutic intervention, and it is individuals. So we have not to exclude it. We have to support, and we have to accept the idea we have limits. Okay, we are not Iron Man.
Okay, thank you for your comments. We can take questions and comments from other people, please. Students, faculty members, please.
Maybe I can comment. First of all, thank you so much, Pietro, for joining our online webinar on global guidance and counseling. We enjoyed your presentation. At one place in your presentation, you talked about how some personality characteristics are related to burnout.
Yeah.
That made me think that maybe burnout is a characteristic, related to one's temperament. Am I on the right track?
Yes, it's related. For example, open minds in Big Five models, open minds could be protector to burnout syndrome in teachers. For example, or could be open mind could be useful and nurses, because you have to cope with something you could not see never. You have to cope because open mind is related to creativity. And it's important because, it's important to know personality if I prepare intervention, because I have to know what I'm moving and what I have to what I could do for the other personality. Or for another example, the neuroticism is another in a Big Five model. It's could be a developer of burnout syndrome. Could be a high neuroticism is related to a high level of burnout syndrome. Okay, but could be difference between professions. Psychologists are different from physicians. Psychotherapists are also different. And physicians are different from nurses. And strategies, coping strategies of personality could be different. And for example, in spiritually, in Italian psychologists, is not a predictor, not a developer of burnout syndrome. Spirituality strategies, coping strategies of spirituality have no effect in development of burnout syndrome, but it's not protector. But in physicians, spirituality could be a protector.
Okay, right now I have another question. It's a good place to ask. How these different cultural things affect the burnout or PTSD? Yes. Because we all read English article, American article. Is it really representing in our culture, such as in Italy and Turkey? Is there any cross-cultural differences in this manifestation of these disorders?
Absolutely, yes. Culture is fundamental, because in some country there are a different way to stay in this war. So we have to consider it. We have to consider that spirituality is important part in a country, but is less important in other cultures. But it's important to know that coping strategies are related to professionists. For example, in psychologists, in physician is a protector from burnout syndrome. Coping strategies, operative coping strategies. Operative coping strategies are protectors from burnout syndrome in physician, but it's developer of burnout syndrome in psychologist. So this is absolutely different cultures could play a role, but also professionist culture could play a role. I'm not sure it was clear.
Other people, please. If other people doesn't ask question, I'm going to ask again. Pietro, I know you also did some schoolwork. You work some young children, right?
Yeah.
Children, teenagers, etc. Then how we protect? How can we protect young children and teenagers for this type of adversities?
The first step, we have to believe in their abilities. They are young, but they could be strong. We have to know them that as adults, we have not only role of protectors, we are guides. We have to show the way. We have not to write the way instead of them. How can we protect them? How we can make them more resilient? We have to make school psychologist program in the school. We have to guarantee psychological support, not also for the student, also for the teachers, because a good teachers make a difference for academic careers of students. In your life, in your entire life, I'm sure you can detect your favorite teacher, and the favorite teacher is the teacher that show you the way, but not the general way, the way that is matching with your interest. So we have to protect first the teacher. The second step, the student, but we have not to exclude communities. Every school is in a community. If you want to prevent suicide, the eating disorders, or the other problem in young people, we have to we have to take care of their narration and believe that they could be strong. And it's the first part.
Okay, thank you.
It's important for young people to have an adult or that saying, I believe in you. Also for academics, also for academic teacher.
Actually, you did very good comments, because in my profession, in my teaching career, I have seen students come in very difficult condition, very poor condition, have problem, and maybe some crime and violence in their life, but they are still able to come at school and be successful. and study. I always admire their coping skills, and there are some students, they have this internal coping, internal resiliency. They can cope in any difficult conditions, which is good.
Absolutely, absolutely. For example, in my school intervention, I remember a girl from the parents were divorced, and she lives with their mom. But after their mom was abused from a new companion, and she was take off their home and go to the father, and I have to intervention with her. So what I have to do? The first step is the problem of your parents are not you. Are not you. And don't make your parents' problem speaking for yourself. You are wonderful. And you are not to do with, you have nothing to do with your parents' affair. So, and it's important because it's a very difficult condition. We have to analyze condition, individual situation, how is diffused, the prevalence of phenomenon in a class. And we have to know it is if it's a community problem. And intervention, if the prevalence is very high, we have to program community intervention, not all individual. And we have to say to our students, they are not their academic achievement. They are people, they are wonderful, and they have the simple way to stay in this world. Nothing good.
Pietro, you did wonderful explanation. Thank you. You speak with your expertise and research experts. That's wonderful. Now it's like 8:30 p.m. in Turkey. It's a dinner time. We want Italian pizza.
It's dinner time in Italia too. So
with Parmesan cheese, please.
You have to taste them in Italy. Okay, thank you for attention.
Professor, before the finished presentation, can everyone again turn on their camera to take photo? By the way, I'm also thankful for your attendance, Dr. Pietro.
Okay.
Pietro, we will have a certificate to you. We will send email and then a little gift. And when I see you, I will give it to you.
Thank you.
Emre, Eren, do you want to say bye to you? Sen de iyi günler, iyi akşamlar diyebilirsin.
Okay, thank you.
Emre, open ses aç Emre.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Great. Yes. Thank you, Pietro, for your time. We enjoyed your presentation. It was very educational, informative, and good luck with everything you do.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you to Professor Bulut for these great opportunities.
We hope to meet you again at another setting, at another venue, maybe.
I hope it.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you all.
We are we are coming close to the end of our first day, I think, right, Professor Stefan?
Yes, I greatly thank my faculty member and presenter and friends and students who come and part of this organization. But this event mostly student organization, which is held by counseling psychology students and their advisors. I appreciate their effort, and I hope to see you student tomorrow at the same time.
Yes.
We have other presenters.
We have Solmaz Bulut at 18:15 Turkey time. And we have 19:30 at Professor at Jacobs. So you will receive...
Ya bu güvenli uçuş modu diyor.
Yes, you will receive the links before the event. I thank everyone who had contributed to make today's event possible, especially Dr. Professor Sefa Bulut, Sümeyye Eliz Burhan, and Havanur Akyıldız, and also Emre Eren Balcı, who was the driving force to make this happen. Thank you everyone for joining us, and have a great evening. If you would like to add, everyone in the organizing committee, please feel free to do so. And we'll see you tomorrow evening. And Professor Canan Çetin Kanat, we honored to have you tonight. Join us.
Thank you very much for all. Thank you and bye-bye.